make my mama proud as a problem child. Being brown in the hood, had nobody looking out. I missed my graduation, I was in prison eating chow. Being loyal to a set had me squeezing off them rounds. Tell you life is real when you can't afford a light bill. Got demons in my sleep, had to learn to shake them night chips. Being broke with crime pays, dripping in them knife fits. Up my cake, touching more cheddar than some.
Hey, yo, what's good with everybody, man? I hope everybody's having a productive day, feeling blessed. And like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. So with that being said, man, thank you guys for all the love and support you guys been showing my last videos. But y'all see the thumbnail? Got an interesting story for you guys. 2 of them, matter of fact. So with that being said, hit that subscribe button, hit that like. Always leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Check the links in the description for my Apple and Spotify music. Go ahead and run my streams up. And you can check out my playlist section on my YouTube channel. Check out my music right there. And in all the interviews are in the playlist section all in one, so you guys can listen to them all at the same time. Thank you guys for you guys' time. Most importantly, thank you guys for you guys' support. So this story came from one of my subscribers. This took place in Centinela when the first Mexican Mafia members came out. The very first one that showed up to Centinela was Turtle. Then the Mexican Mafia member named Toto, which some people have told stories about on YouTube. Yes, the finger breaking stories are true. So these individuals show up. And the first thing they did is they were on a modified program at the time. So there wasn't a lot of movement. So they weren't able to communicate that much. They weren't even trying to communicate with nobody. They just came out, posted up, became observant, started observing the yard, how the Surenos were running the program, how the Mesa was operating, so on and so forth. About a month later, though, they put their foot down. And this is a crazy story. This is a couple crazy stories. Well, the first situation they had to do and take care of was the blacks approached the Emeros and were basically telling them, hey, all these Surenos owe us this amount of money. We're trying to get paid, yada, yada, yada. Big, things like that can escalate into prison riots, and these individuals just got out. Now, according to my source, pretty much all these individuals owed almost close to $10,000, not exactly $10,000, but close to $10,000 worth of drug debts to the blacks and the whites and other ethnicities. He said the Mexican Mafia, both these individuals, Turtle and Toto, came out their pockets, actually paid off all the drug debts that all those Surenos owed and cleaned the slate. And then from there, they enforced a strict policy saying that no Sureno is to be doing business with any other ethnicity other than them. They shut down everything, all the pipelines, anybody that was bringing in dope, they shut it all down and restructured the program. Now, mind you, it does come out later on in the policies that these Mexican Mafia members rather take their Sureños money, their Soldados money, than to see them put that money into somebody else's hands. To them, they look at it like a monopoly game. All this money belongs to me. I'll be damned if I see a Sureño that works for me, that's supposed to be praising me, give my money to some other ethnicity group. So, this is a racial bias that goes on. But for now, in this regard, was they wanted to prevent the Sureños from getting into altercations with the blacks. It kicking off. They just got out. They ain't trying to deal with none of those headaches. So they enforced that policy. And the whole thing about, Sureños giving other Sureños calentadas with coffee cups and breaking their fingers and taking their monies and their watches and all in their canteen and taking everything out of their cells. All that took place, all in a different regards, all for different situations. But the individual said it was only because nobody was listening to them. They still continued to run up drug debts, still do business outside their car, still giving their money to other ethnicities and not the Mexican Mafia members. So yes, Sureños were having to go in other people's cells and beat up other Sureños with coffee mugs, coffee cups, the brown state coffee cups. That thing's hurt. Trust me, I used them in a cell. They do damage. And of course, the finger breaking policy, which blows my mind that your leadership will sit there and tell his soldados to go up to you and grab your fingers and just snap them because you don't listen. Think about that for a little while as I continue to tell you this story. So the MS-13 member, he did validate these stories, and he has stories of his own about dealing with Toto on the tier. And trust me, these stories are gruesome. But this one in particular, there was a Sureño from Indio. He volunteered. He wasn't bringing in dope, but he volunteered because he had a hyena visiting him all the time to bring in dope for the Mexican Mafia. So he approaches them and tells them, you know what, I have an avenue, I have a resource that'll bring it in for us. If you guys want me to help you out, I'm bringing in you guys' dope. So they supplied him with it. Sent dope to her. She brought it in. They hit 4 times faithfully, bro. And then trust me, they're not giving a third or nothing. The Mexican Mafia members are getting their stash and just giving dudes like 2 grams or a gram or 3 grams, or are basically saying like, hey man, some things came up. I got to break off my brothers in the feds and some of my brothers in the state that are still in the shoe. We'll give you some money for the dope that you brought us in, but we got to sell the dope first and send all the carnales some dope and then some money, and then whatever's left, we'll cash you out a couple $100. Really? But that's how it's working now. That's how the policies are now today, in today's era. So on the 5th try, he actually went out his way to have his hyena bring another hyena so another individual can go out there and help him out with some of the dope, which was unapproved, which Toto and the other Mexican Mafia member Toto didn't know about. And what happens, they go up there and get busted with 2 zips. Now, them fools go to the lockup for a little bit, come back out. The hyenas get handcuffed, but one of the hyenas starts cooperating with law enforcement and gives up the cha-cha. The thing is, they had a Hotel 6. They had a room. And in that room, they had 4 more zips that they were supposed to bring in over the weekend. Well, they got let go. Somehow, some way, however this transpired, I'm not too familiar with the details. But they go back to the hotel, grab the rest of the 4 zips, and on the highway, throw the zips out the window. So now her old man is not only dealing with repercussions for getting caught with 2 zips and not bringing them back, but also for the other 4 zips, and also because his old lady started talking. So this individual is getting penalized and disciplined and put on disregard, the shine, getting DP'd, having to work out all the time, gets no love. He's on red flag status because he failed to bring in 2 zips and the other 4 zips. And now he has to pay that back. Not in dope, but not even in street value of what it cost those zips to be paid for. He had to pay prison value for all those 6 zips being lost. That's over $10,000 worth of dope money, if you ask me. But over $10,000 he had to pay these Mexican Mafia members. And until he did so, he was on disregard. He was on bunk status. He couldn't do nothing. He got no love. He was on the yard by himself, busting down the whole yard. They treated him like crap. Like crap. It's not his fault that his old lady told, but it is his fault that he put his old lady in a predicament just to impress these big dudes, to help them out and get them on their feet and bring in dope for them. She told, obviously she's going to save herself. She doesn't want to go to jail. She doesn't care about prison politics. She was just doing it for her old man, and he's getting penalized for that too. So he's doing his best to try to remain solid, remain active, but yet they're charging him prison values for all those zips. Mind you, before this individual locked it up after his spirit was broken, his old lady told him, like, I did throw those zips out on the highway. He went on ahead and told the Mexican Mafia members. They got on the phone, sent somebody to the same location where she described she threw the dope out of, and they retrieved 4 zips. So mind you, he only lost 2 zips, really. He got caught with them. And these individuals got the 4 zips back, but yet they continued to still charge him 6 zips worth of prison value price of over $10,000. Even though they got the 4 zips back, they were still charging him as if he still lost those 4 zips because his whole predicament put him in a bad predicament. So they wanted their money's worth. And that's what broke his spirits and locked it up. And that's the part that trips me out, is a lot of these actors will sit here and make fun of anybody that's on the SNY without hearing their stories, without hearing their versions. And I'm not even talking to the dude that this happened to. I'm talking to an individual who was on the yard at the time who's still active, who said this was taking place and this is what he's seen, and he thought it was this scandalous and how things were turning out. I'm sharing his version with you guys. I'm sharing his story with you guys. And I'm pretty sure there's these actives, they don't get it. They don't understand. And that's what's the point of these stories that I'm trying to do. And I'm trying to relay this message. Like, yes, there's a lot of basura on the SNY. There's a lot of dirty vatos, dirty scandalous vatos, dirty vato tactics. I don't believe half the stories out that are on the SNY. But for the ones that I believe and that I know for sure are true, like, goes to show you, man, that sometimes you, even as an active individual, a true believer, loyal to a fault, loyal to the soil, praises these big homies, you might not even put yourself in that predicament. You just might end up in that predicament, and they're going to exploit you. They're going to exploit you. They're going to bully you. They're going to mistreat you like crap. They're going to forget that you're a solado, that you're a true believer, that you're a follower. If they don't get what they want out of you, you're nothing to them. And this individual locked it up before these individuals could actually beat him with a cup or break his fingers or take his win because he decided to do them a favor. It's a trip, right? But yet another incident occurs where Toto has a lot of dope in his cell, you know, and I don't know if his prostate's kicking in and he can't hoop it. So he had another Sureno hoop it. And this individual was high on carga at the time, sat down to pull it out to take a dump. And usually the standard procedure is if you hoop something, you drop it in your hand, put it in a little bolsita, or put it on. I used to put it just on a piece of toilet paper right there and just wrap it up and wash my hands on the toilet and flush everything, do my business, and that's it. But he caught it with his hand, flushed the toilet, and decided to use the water to clean off the pedazo, but he dropped it in the toilet and he flushed it. Now, Toto and the other Mexican Mafia member were believing that this individual probably just lied so he can slam it all. But they were going to his cell. They actually, Toto had individuals walking up to that dude's cell, monitoring that dude to see if he was still high even after the situation. To the point this individual literally was on a table, on the yard, crying, breaking down in tears because he felt like he was going to lose his career and lose his life because Toto's a mean individual. He's a grumpy old man. And somebody had to talk him into his ear, like really talk to these Mexican Mafia members. We're like, look, man, we actually believe this kid. Like, he's literally crying. His story hasn't changed. He hasn't been high since. He's on disregard. He's being treated like crap. Like, we don't think that this individual deserves to be hit, man. Maybe he just made a mistake and accidentally flushed a piece. Toto just having a great day. Obviously, nobody pissed in his Cheerios that morning. Was like, you know what? All right, I'm not going to do him like that. But I am going to charge him to replace it. Double. So he had to either get 2 zips in or pay double. Not prison price. Street price. So that'd have been like $600 a zip, you know, $500 depending on how the prices go. Double it up, $1,200 or $1,500. He had to come up with $1,500 and pay it off. Street value price. So you got one situation where they actually got the dope back, but decided to mistreat him and treat him like crap and break his spirits and charge him prison value price of what it goes on for the tier at $10,000. But since this kid decided to cry on the yard and wasn't getting high, and they actually believed his story, which this dude's story is pretty believable too, because he got caught and they picked up the dope. But this individual was treated differently because he decided to, you know, break it down and be truthful. And they were just having a great day. You know, he probably had a Cadillac that morning and ate a Snicker and probably slammed a fat shot and was like, you know what? I don't feel like being bloodthirsty and abusive at all today to my people. I'm just going to charge him street value price or 2 zips. Instead of 1, 2 zips. He's got to figure out a way to bring it in. I don't want to call it favoritism, but you see the difference? An individual did this individual a favor by holding his dope. Yes, he got blessed with a gram to get high with. Yes, he made a mistake. Trust me, I flushed bundles before. Sometimes you can catch it, but I learned the hard way. Don't flush the damn toilet. I'd always flush it and catch it and just wash it with the water so my cell don't stink. And, you know, I'm being courteous to my cellie, and I flushed bundles before. Or sometimes I forgot the bundle was even in there and I flush it. Things happen. But you got another young kid trying to impress a Mexican Mafia member, and when he makes a mistake, they don't care. All they see is an individual lost his dope. Now this individual's down a zip. Now he can't make no money. Now he can't feed his veins all day and keep his old self content and not be a grumpy old man all day. But that's how a lot of these individuals have been coming forward with these stories. Have been telling me about this individual. He's just a mean, grumpy old man. He's very strict. But the part that bothers me the most is that it became a point now that these Mexican Mafia members can go up to a Sureno with other Surenos and say, you know what? I don't like him. Break his fingers. I don't like the way he looked at me. Go take him in the cell and beat him up with cups. And as a matter of fact, that disciplina, he doesn't look like he's hurting. Get him back in there and beat him with coffee cups this time. That's the story I'm going to tell you for next time. But that's the message that I'm trying to do with this video to these actives. Like, you praise the concept of being active so much and degrade me and other people that are SNY that have been in these predicaments, that share these kind of stories with you, and yet you still keep the blinders closed. You don't want to open up the blinders. You don't want to open up your eyes and see the realities of what's taking place. The NF doing the same thing to the same, and under the same circumstances, to the same people, to their soldados. The same people that look up to them are the ones getting mistreated and killed off the most. So doesn't it make it hypocritical for actives to sit there and degrade and criticize SNY inmates when half the time you don't know their story? Half the time you don't care to know their story, so you're just being biased. All I'm asking you is to look at the overall picture and what takes place and the circumstances and the facts. I'm not the only channel that shares these kind of stories with you guys, and shedding light to the abuse and misuse of authority and power in the penal system that we've been suffering from for far too long. That's all I've ever been doing. So you can remain active all you want. That's fine with me. You know, I'm not being biased no more. All I'm doing is showing these kids, like, look, man, if you want to live this life and be active and praise these active individuals and imitate these active gang members that you look up to from your neighborhoods, fine. But when you go to the penal system, this is what you have to look forward to. This is what the predicaments you might be placed in if you place yourself in these predicaments. That is the best that I could do now with this YouTube channel. Because I don't know if I'm making a difference. I hope I'm making a difference. But I got a lot of active individuals, including big prison gang, Mexican Mafia members and NF members putting out filters about me, saying don't listen to me. Well, obviously, if they don't want you listening to me, it's because I'm shedding some light. I'm speaking some truth. And I didn't know none of this when I went to prison. I learned it all every day, year by year, politic by politic. Every prison was a different political arena where I learned from. I didn't know half the stuff that was going on. So I can sit here and tell you I didn't know what I signed up for. It seemed good. It sounded beautiful. It sounded intriguing. I thought the basic stuff, but I was going to be a goon. Ended up getting involved in so much stuff and so much hypocrisy and political propaganda that really destroys lives. I watched it destroy lives. I've destroyed lives, and it's continuously destroying other people's lives in the process. And that's the only reason why I do these videos for you guys. Stories like this, you know, they kind of hurt. They show you the truth of what's really going on. And I'm just trying to show you the truth in the face of the individuals that you really want to remain active for. I'm just trying to give you a decision and give you a choice now to make. I would rather you go home and say you're active and be active with your family. It's okay. You can say you're active and you never went on an SNY yard. I'm proud of you even more for that. Some of us make the harsh mistake and have to deal with the harsh reality of being SNY inmates. Trust me, it's not a pretty label to live up to. But I'd rather you be active, but be active at home. Stay off them streets. Go to bed with that beautiful woman that you look forward to every day. Wake up every day and see your babies crawl in bed with you and ask you for little things. You know, give them a beautiful Christmas. Give them a beautiful life. Instead of giving these individuals money on their books or dope for their veins. That's all I'm saying. So with that being said, like I always say, it's one life, one chance. When they got one chance to do this right, let's get it done. Peace.